Hey clowns, welcome back to Crimelia Street. I'm Sam.
And I'm Tori, and we are gathered here today. It feels like it's been an eternity since we recorded last, and the whole thing feels foreign to me. Anytime we take like more than a week and a half off of recording, it's all brand new to me.
Right, like who are we? What are we doing? Why are we here?
Have I
Is
done
it
this
just
before?
me? Right. No, but it's just simply the week after Thanksgiving, and we are recovering from the food comas, the blur. It's just a blur, I think, this time.
It has been a blur, yeah. And I have this week off work, and like the whole week is gone almost already. And it's just been a blur of disc golf, really.
Which is amazing. It is funny because you did say, you're like, oh, I have the whole week off work. I feel like you said that yesterday. No. That was probably on Saturday, and now it's Thursday.
Well, shoot.
Well, damn it.
Yes.
Time is just flying by, as it does.
As it does. And I already have the Sunday scaries. I know my email inbox is going to be... I've muted it, which I've never done before on a vacation, and there is like a certain liberty in that, not seeing all the notifications at this point, but it will be something.
Oof. So you're just going to like raw dog it on Sunday or Monday morning?
Monday morning, certainly not on Sunday. That is my last day of peace.
Yes.
Although the scaries will have set in full force by then.
Okay, so we need to come up with an action plan to help you on Sunday, is what you're saying.
Probably.
Okay,
There needs to be some
okay.
kind of reinforcement, yeah.
Yeah, maybe some disc golf or something.
You know the way to my heart.
What can I say?
Sam tonight is 11 turkeys, and I love that. It's perfect theme, and I'm assuming you're referring to that lyric where I am pretty sure she does say 11 turkeys creeping up on me. 11 turkeys creeping up on me.
Up on me. What else could it be, really?
One cannot be too sure.
Exactly. It's just the vibe right now. Yep. Tori is Sleeper Cell Spy in 4K, and I am curious. What is that?
Well, we're gonna get the bridge to the smallest man that ever lived in 4K soon.
Oh my god.
It's coming.
So true.
It's
It's
coming.
actually-
It's very
It is
close.
also creeping up on me, speaking of.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. That's going to be super cool.
It's upon us, especially with how quick time is flying by. Yeah. And then there's all these stages popping up. Or I said all these, but
Oh my gosh. Yes.
at least one.
In LA.
And I think maybe at least one. Is it just LA? I wasn't sure if it was LA and New York, but definitely LA.
I have seen the one in LA, and
Okay.
it tickles me because, and I've bitched about this so many times, I know, there was never an LA post on Instagram. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So like
Right.
in my Delulu, just nature, I'm like, what if she does one last? No, it doesn't make sense. But
It
well, like,
doesn't.
why wasn't there a post for LA?
Right. I
Why?
think there was a couple cities, though, that there wasn't. Right?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Vancouver as well.
Okay, so is that like?
That's interesting because she filmed both in LA and Vancouver.
Ooh.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you
Huh.
hear my cat in the litter box right now?
I can.
Before we recorded, I had to unplug my TV from the wall because I couldn't find the remote for it.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I bet Finn got a hold of it, right? But like, whatever, I was like, that's the last thing I want to worry about right now. I'll just unplug it.
Right.
So I did. And then as I was walking, I went to go get a glass of wine, walk back over to my desk. I'm like, what is that in the litter box? Yep.
What?
He dropped the remote into the litter box, yeah. The thing that you touch with your hands, probably more than anything else. And it's probably the hardest thing to clean, too. About the little
Just without
crevices.
the crevices, yes. Oh.
Yeah. You gotta love it.
Oh my gosh. That is so funny. I'm sorry though. That sucks.
It's just fine. How can you not laugh at it?
Yeah. You really, it's like, this bitch.
Yes.
That is so funny. But also shitty.
Toddlerhood at its finest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Always funny and shitty at the same time. It's the duality.
The duality of it all. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I get that for sure. But yeah, the stages, well, we can definitely circle back to that too.
Okay.
So we can be nice and happy at the end of the night, if you'd like.
I think that's a good idea, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we can hop into the sad stuff, I guess.
Okay.
See, it feels weird saying that. It feels foreign.
Right. We've been happy for so long.
I know. Okay, sad stuff. So this case is going to be pretty different than what my usual cases. For starters, it might be short. It might be shorter than just one usual episode instead of being 2 or 3 or 4 episodes long. I know my last one I had 21 pages of notes, and this time I have 7.
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's maybe progress. Just the topic too, there's not like a ton of sources for this. My biggest source was this docu-series called The Children of the Underground. It's on Hulu. So after you guys listen, if you want a more in-depth dive, that is definitely a good place to go. It's almost too in-depth, I will say, the docu-series. It could have been maybe an episode shorter, but there's definitely a lot of information there. Okay, so our story is set in the 1980s to the 1990s. And it centers around Faye Yager, who was born December 19th, 1948, and she actually died just last year in August of 2024. I believe she was like 75, so she lived a good, long life. Faye's crimes are the centerpiece for the story I'll be sharing today, but this isn't our typical true crime case coverage. It's kind of different because the person committing the crime, in my opinion, is not the real criminal.
Ooh.
Little twisty twist.
Yeah.
So in 1966, Faye married Roger Lee James when she was 17 years old, which was normal back then. Like alarm bells go off for me when I hear that, but I guess, those were
different times. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So they say.
When Faye was 19, she gave birth to their daughter, Michelle. I'm going to give a little preface. We're trigger warning for this episode. We do talk about sexual abuse. We don't get into any of the details, but there is sexual assault on minors is kind of the main topic. Okay, so one morning, Faye woke up earlier than usual. She comes downstairs and she walked in on Roger sexually assaulting their daughter. Roger instantly tried to gaslight Faye and told her that she didn't see what she saw. He went as far as to have her committed to a mental hospital and get TENS shock treatment due to her hysteria about the situation.
You have to be kidding me.
Seriously.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And what's crazy to me is I can only imagine as she's in the mental hospital, she's probably repeatedly telling these people who have her locked up that this man sexually assaulted her daughter, and they're all just like zapping her for it.
That is I cannot imagine the level of rage. That would drive anyone absolutely nuts.
My blood is
Wow.
boiling.
Yeah.
Also warning, I may get a little heated, a little hyped up during this one.
Oh my
So-
goodness. Yeah.
As soon as she got out of the hospital, she went to get her daughter from Roger. When she got there, Roger handed her divorce papers, and Faye was 22 years old at this time. Roger hired the best lawyer in town. He was well off. Faye knew nothing about court proceedings. She's a 22-year-old girl, dependent on her husband. They have a court hearing. So he comes in, he's in this suit and tie. He's presenting as a normal businessman instead of the monster that he is. She's hysterically trying to protect her daughter, and he's cool as a cucumber because he knows he has misogyny on his side. Faye mentions as well in the documentary that the room was filled with men, and everyone there who had any authority or say-so was a man. At the hearing, Faye tells her side of the story, but because she was so upset over what had happened to her daughter and she was so passionate in trying to protect her daughter, she was treated as if she was this hysterical woman who would do anything to get back at this man.
Why did that? Oh, gosh. Okay.
It's so infuriating. After the hearing, their daughter Michelle was court ordered to live with her abuser and father, Roger. When Michelle's 4 years old, Faye ends up getting so frustrated with the situation that she leaves the state with Michelle, trying to protect her from Roger. When they leave the state, Michelle isn't feeling well. She's sick. So Faye ends up bringing Michelle to the emergency room, and Michelle, the 4-year-old girl, tests positive for gonorrhea.
Oh my gosh. What
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah.
Wow.
So Faye thought, well, now I've got him. At least we have evidence, right? So she goes back to court. But the only thing the court was interested in was the fact that Faye had left the state with the daughter and was in violation of the court-ordered custody agreement.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So Faye was arrested and in jail for 6 weeks. After that, for 10 years, Faye was granted 2-hour supervised visits a month with her daughter, Michelle, for the next 10 years. And Michelle's with her abuser, where the court placed her.
Oh my God.
After she had evidence, like literal medical paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
In May of 1988, dickbag Roger Lee Jones.
Perfect.
Perfect. Faye's ex-husband and the man who was granted custody of their daughter, Michelle, was added to the FBI's 10 most wanted list for the first child molester to ever be added to the list.
Wow.
I fear she was maybe right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was added to the FBI's 10 most wanted list when he fled Sarasota, Florida, of course, Florida, and missed his court hearing after being charged with 7 counts of lewd and lascivious assault on a child under 16. After being featured on America's Most Wanted, Roger was arrested from a KOA campground in March of 1989. Michelle, the daughter, was able to testify as part of the court proceedings. Michelle tells the court that her father continuously molested her throughout her childhood, and when she reached the age of 13, she ended up putting a gun to her father's head and told him that if he didn't stop molesting her, she was going to end him. Yeah. And it
Wow.
sounds like that did end the assault. Thank goodness it didn't, go in a crazy, violent direction from there. But God, what that poor girl went through.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And
yeah.
to even have to do that or feel like you have to do that at 13.
Mm-hmm.
Previous to Roger's charges, Faye would ask her daughter Michelle if she were being abused by Roger during their visits or phone calls, and Michelle would always tell Faye that she hadn't been. Once the charges were placed on Roger, Michelle reached out to Faye and told her that she was right the whole time about Roger and that he had been harming her all along. I don't think this is something that any parent ever wants to hear, obviously, but I do think that for Faye, there was some kind of validation in, like, okay, you were putting up that fight, you did that jail time, you did that shock treatment for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, it was real. You weren't crazy. You did see what you think you saw. It was around this time when Faye had heard from Michelle and had that validation from her that the beginnings of the Children of the Underground came together. And this was in 1987. So around this time, Faye read about a woman named Karen Newsom in the newspaper who refused to turn her children over to the court or to their father because they had been molested by their father, but the judge didn't believe it, and the father was granted custody. So Faye flew out to Mississippi and started meeting people that were involved in keeping the children like under wraps and what is the word? I can't think of it right now. On the run, I guess. There was obviously a problem in the U.S. at the time where children were being molested by adults in their lives, often their fathers, but not always, and the abusers weren't being prosecuted. Prosecutors weren't bringing these cases to court, even to criminal court, because it was difficult to prove sexual assault against a child in many cases unless there was photo or video proof, and a lot of people just aren't that stupid. So the cases then would end up in family court instead of criminal court. And family court is a special court that handles issues involving divorce, domestic abuse, and child custody. The downside of these cases getting brought to family court is, one, these monsters aren't getting prosecuted. They're not doing any time. There's no sentencing that comes from family court. Two is there's more due diligence when cases are brought to criminal court than family court. For instance, an alleged abuser may be told to stay away from the victim until the verdict is reached in criminal court, but that's not something that happens in family court. There's also more due diligence around vetting evidence and making sure that it's sound, and there's no standard of proof of evidence in family court. Even evidence of a sexual disease isn't always enough because they can bring in experts who could say that the child may have had poor hygiene and gotten the disease from like a toilet seat or something.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Also, like, I'm sure just the whole process of the court case and everything may exacerbate, like, people getting angry, and it just brings up all these emotions and things like that, so.
Right, and can create unsafe environments. Some of the judges, too, would specifically, like, grant the parents who were the potential abusers visitation because they're like, if we find that this isn't true, then like we don't want to diminish these bonds in the meantime. But it's like, but what if it is true?
Right. Like,
and sometimes
on the side of caution, I would say, if a child, especially if it's a child's safety is involved.
Right. And like they would sometimes do supervised visits too, but it would be like the abuser's mom supervising the visit or something, and it should be like in a state facility or like a county facility where there is like someone paid to supervise, you know?
Right. You can. That's not a good alibi. Like, my mom said I was here.
Right. We've said it before.
It's been a reoccurring issue. It can't be your mother.
No family members, no friends.
Right.
Third party. Non-biased, please.
Right. Camera footage.
Yes. Yeah. Cameras should be rolling in those rooms. So Faye and some of the other people that were involved with hiding those two children in Mississippi began getting involved with each other and then also with other women who supported the same cause. They formed a group called MARC, which was MARC and stood for Mothers Against Raping Children.
Sign me up.
Right. It's just crazy that there had to be
A
women
group.
in organizations like that. Like, and there was another one mentioned in the documentary too. It was like Mothers Against Sexual Assault.
Shouldn't every, yeah.
Right.
But go them.
Different. 100%.
Yeah. It just sucks that that has to be a thing.
That's where they were. Right. So Faye quickly became the face of Mark, and as she did interviews and was asked to be on talk shows, the word got out super quickly that if you had a child that needed to disappear from an abusive situation, you could get a hold of Faye Yager for help. Talk shows were even sharing phone numbers to where you could reach Faye at, just like up on the screen, which is interesting because obviously like this is illegal.
Right. And an active investigation or something, right?
I mean, once kids are, missing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Faye was definitely a bit of an evangelist in her own way, too. After everything she'd been through, she kind of had this outlook of like, I want to get as many children out of these situations as I can. This formed the Children of the Underground Network. The network was comprised of people and connections across the country and across the world. People who could house families on the run, people who could assist with getting fake documents, validating medical records, etc. They ended up having a ton of connections. It was crazy how many people came out of the woodwork and wanted to help with this. And often people who were helping the network were people who had been in abusive situations themselves or close to them in their pasts. There came a point down the line where Faye ended up separating from the group Mark because she was getting too much media attention and she was kind of boisterous sometimes and didn't always think about the words that she was saying and how it could impact other people she was associated with. So she kind of ended up being too much of a liability for Mark. Faye ended up going off on one of the fathers who was a doctor during a talk show and accused him of sexually assaulting his patients and having active lawsuits against him for that misconduct, which he may have. I don't know if that's true or not. But he did end up suing Mark for slander for $5 million.
Shit.
So, yeah, they felt that they were better off publicly distancing themselves from Faye. Because it didn't seem like she was really willing to back off from saying how she felt.
Right. Do we have any direct quotes from her?
Oh, like, dang. I don't, but it is, if you watch the docuseries, I mean, they show her standing up and, like, looking this man in his face and saying this.
And just, like, yelling in his face.
She's not yelling. She, like, has this, oh, my gosh. I wish I would have gotten a clip for her to share on here, because she has this, like, southern draw to her voice, but, like, it's very, like, matter of fact. Anyways, yeah, she's not yelling.
That. Wow.
Yeah. So this documentary covered many women's and children's story. There was one in particular with a little girl who had an injury from her father having injured her with a knife during a sexual assault. I'm not going to get into any more details, but it's just like, fuck. The documentary gives like all these details. Yeah. The mother went to the cops and the father was still allowed visits with supervision. The supervisor being his mom, who didn't believe any of this was true, so she really wasn't supervising visits at all.
Oh my God. What is wrong with these people?
It's crazy, dude. It's a man's world.
Clearly, I guess, and we're just living in it.
Yep.
I hate that. It blows my mind.
It really does. It really does. It's like, thank God things have changed and like we live in a time where this is so outlandish. Like it seems crazy. Like
right. It's taken a bit more seriously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even sometimes today, though, these things are still happening and people just turn a blind eye. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the girl, every time she would go visit her dad, the mom said nearly every time she would have new stories of assault. And it got to the point where the mom was meeting the father to get the child back at the police department, and she would just walk in before the meeting and be like, who wants to take her testimony this time?
Wow.
So the mother was making sure to get everything documented, at least, but still, like, literally meeting every time you exchange at a police station, and they're just, like, writing it down.
They're like, okay, noted. We'll see you next week.
Right. Yep.
That's crazy.
So when her daughter was 4 years old, the mother also, like Faye, got frustrated, packed up, and moved out of state and went to her parents' house in another state. Once they were there, the mother took her daughter to get what sounds like it was essentially a rape kit at that time. The rape kit for the girl came back saying that the girl had a sexually transmitted disease and there was evidence of sexual assault. 4 years old.
That makes you sick. Oh my
It really
God.
does. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it makes the hairs on my arms stand up, and it does like make me queasy.
Yeah.
The mother got a lawyer, and the lawyer felt good about the case, but the father was not convicted. In fact, the mother was served a warrant for her arrest for leaving with the child and a pickup order for her child.
That's wild.
It's like, how... Like, you're coming for the mom when they're presenting the evidence of, like, this is why I left. It's just, they're like, oh, we don't want to see that. We're working on your case. We're just trying to find
See
you.
what? Yeah. Where?
The first survey on sexual abuse in the U.S. came out in 1979. The findings showed that 22% of women stated they were sexually assaulted, and 9% of men said that they had been sexually assaulted. Many of the women were saying they were assaulted by someone in their own families. It seemed it was tough for the public to reconcile that accomplished people could be coming home and sexually assaulting their children at night. There was a big push in the 1980s around this time on stranger danger because it seemed easier to believe that strangers or like a man dressed in a trench coat in a dark alleyway was committing these sexual assaults on children versus a doctor or a lawyer coming home and doing this to their own children in their beds at night. The mother who got the warrant out for her arrest, her name was April, and she was given Faye Yager's number. So Faye brought April and April's daughter into the network. She pretty much was assisting people with how to break the law and how to stay under the radar and stay in hiding. She would pretty much give them like a crash course lesson on like, I can't do it for you, but this is how you do it. While the mother and child were traveling, it would be something like a mother would, with her daughter, would go, or children would go to someone's house. They'd be given a phone number, and they said, when you get to this city, call this phone number. They'd call that number, and those people would usually house them for a couple days until they get another call from Faye telling them which city to go to next. And that would go on until eventually the family would be set up somewhere where they could live full-time. Often they were taught to acquire fake documents, fake birth certificates, and social security numbers, and then they could reestablish themselves elsewhere. Faye would go to cemeteries, actually, and find gravestones of babies or children who were about the same age as the children who were getting into the network, and they would use those people's names to create documentation. Faye was arrested eventually for kidnapping and cruelty to children. There was a mother who went to Faye to get her daughter into the network, and then the mom decided she no longer wanted her daughter to be in the underground, and the story is that Faye didn't want to give her daughter back. Faye says it was a setup to get her and for police to get more information about the children of the underground network. It comes up in court that Faye Yager has a record of every child's case that she takes. She would put together a notebook with the child's photo, notes on the case, any evidence, sometimes drawings from the children of what had happened to them, pretty much any information she could gather on what had happened to the children. it also comes out that Faye would interview these children she was considering taking in. Faye was more abrasive than necessary with the children and not trained in interrogating, especially interrogating children or interviewing them about traumatic situations. She would almost play like good cop, bad cop herself, and she would go between being sympathetic and more aggressive than necessary. Faye's intent was to make sure that the children were telling the truth and that she had some evidence of the children saying what had happened to them to potentially provide to the authorities if the time ever arose. I do think it's kind of crazy that she's like sitting in court right now. They're bringing all these the interviews are on video, so they're displaying these in the court. The prosecution brought him out to like say she's actually the one abusing the children by doing these interviews. So because prosecution brought it out, the defense also brought videos in because now they're like, well, cat's out of the bag, you know? And they show all of these videos of so many children getting interviewed. And it's just crazy that Faye is sitting on trial right now, but none of these men that harmed these kids are getting any questions or an eye batted at them.
Right. I'm wondering what the tactics would be for the detectives to interview the children as well. They probably have to do something similar to talk to the kids as well to get the person convicted. Yeah, that is...
And I feel like today we know better. Like psychology has come a long way, and you know, gentle parenting, even us lowly non-psychologists know that you have to be gentle with kids, especially kids in like from traumatic backgrounds. But yeah, I don't think it was a thing back then. I feel like she had probably seen like interrogations on cop shows and was doing her best.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Here's where things do get a little wonky, little wacky, if you will.
Okay. Buckled in.
Buckled in, yeah. Faye was also finding that a lot of the children that were sexually assaulted were making claims of something called satanic ritual assault. Bet you didn't see that coming.
No. Curveball. Okay. Okay.
Children would draw her pictures of satanic rituals that they were forced to be a part of. It was all over the gambit, everything from human sacrifices, babies being sacrificed, to animals being sacrificed, candles, drinking blood, all of that. Anything you could think of that would be considered satanic in the 1980s. Pretty much.
Got it.
This was around the time that satanic panic was spreading through America, where the public, there's just like this general concern that Satanists were quietly taking over spaces. And your face.
It's just like history repeats itself. It's just so funny how there's always something.
Right? That's so true. Yep.
Just drives me nuts. When it's
Some
really
quiet-
nothing.
Quiet looming threat that really doesn't exist.
Exactly. Just something to focus to shift the focus on. I don't know.
Yep.
It's probably delving into conspiracy territory.
Okay, satanic panic began in the 1980s and peaked in the early 1990s, so pretty much throughout the whole time frame that we're talking about. Because Faye was sometimes interviewing children inappropriately, some people believe that children may have felt intimidated to embellish their stories to involve satanic worship. In the documentary, they also brought up the McMartin School accusations. Have you ever heard about that?
I haven't, no.
So the McMartin School was a preschool where there was medical evidence that children were being sexually assaulted at the school. Faye had nothing to do with this case, but she did hear about it through one of the moms she was helping, because it was happening during the time of the children underground. So there was proof that the children were being sexually assaulted, but as more and more children were interviewed and a lot of children ended up coming into it. It was speculated over 100 children could have been involved during the time that the sexual assaults were happening, because I think it spanned like quite a few years. So as more and more children were being interviewed, something happened where the stories began to get more and more wild. And the children were, and this was a lot of children giving these stories as well. So at first everyone believed them. But the children were talking about being taken into tunnels under the school, animal sacrifices happening in classrooms, and videos being taken of the sexual assaults. Police ended up searching under the school and around it for the tunnels, and no tunnels were found. There was never any video evidence found either of the sexual assaults. It seems that somewhere along the lines, the traumatized children had embellished their stories, and it was kind of like a snowball rolling downhill, and it was just difficult to slow it down. Which also kind of reminds me of the Salem witch trials, or just like that idea of like a mass hysteria event. But it is thought that the children were sexually assaulted. I mean, there is medical evidence to support that, but like the tunnels under the ground and a lot of the stuff that came into the stories wasn't true. And it could never be corroborated. And like, they would find the tunnels.
Right.
Unfortunately, in the McMartin case, it ended with a hung jury and there were no convictions. It seems that the evidence of sexual assault was unfortunately lost amongst the accusations of satanic worship, and it made it to where no convictions were made.
Oh, yeah.
It's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
There was an interview that Faye did where she said on a talk show that 3/4 of the children she interviewed were involved in satanic ritualistic assault. So there is question, due to the nature of the way Faye was using intimidation tactics on the children while interviewing them, that maybe they were unintentionally persuaded into agreeing that there was satanic rituals when there was not. There's actually one woman who did say that she had agreed that there were satanic rituals happening when she was interviewed by Faye when she was a child, because she just wanted the interview to be done. She was scared. She wanted her mom, and she just kind of wanted to agree with whatever was being asked. That way she could be done with the interview and get back to her mom. She said that she knows for a fact that satanic rituals were not a part of her abuse. In August of 1992, Faye Yager was found not guilty and acquitted of kidnapping and cruelty to children. So I'm glad that she was found not guilty.
Yeah.
I believe that even though her interview tactics were inappropriate, I do think Faye was coming from a good place of genuinely wanting to help the children. And I believe she did genuinely help many children out of bad situations. Faye unfortunately felt the need to try and do something, as the government was continuously letting children down. So she took on this role of being a vigilante, and she didn't get it totally right, but I do think she was doing her best. It feels like, to me, one of those moments where it's like, well, we have to start moving in the right direction. I don't know if we're going to get it right the first time, but like, someone's got to take that step.
Yeah. There's literally lives at stake here.
Right.
And no one else is doing anything about it.
Someone has to. After the trial, and because there was more heat on Faye at her house, a local Dunkin' Donuts became the headquarters where Faye would receive phone calls and meet with Sally's, which was the name given to women coming to Faye for help. The whole town kind of knew what Faye was involved in as well, and loved her and seemed to know what she was doing, but they wanted to protect her. There was a sad reality that many of the women who would go on the run couldn't run forever, and they would often be caught. Faye said in an interview on a talk show that if you can get that child safety for 1 day, 2 weeks, 1 year, that child will never forget it. The unfortunate reality is that some of the women who were caught after going on the run with their children were then prosecuted and convicted and lost access to their children, or would have very limited access to the children, who would go back to the homes of their abusers as well. It's like, is that It's such a hard place because it's like, yeah, you're not there, but like they were getting abused when you were there too. So it's like you, I can see like knowing, okay, I might get locked up, but like maybe we do get away with it. Some women and children were able to stay on the run until the kid was 18 and then they
Yeah,
could come back.
for sure. Or maybe even just with the whole situation, it might raise some attention to what's happening, and maybe some judge or someone in the
Right.
system can see what's going on and be like, okay, they're not running away for no reason. Like, even though we still have to prosecute the mom, we need to look into what's happening with the male
Yeah.
figure in their life. Yeah.
April, one of the moms who we talked about who went on the run, she was on a talk show and said on the talk show, I have a warrant out for my arrest. And the talk show host was blown away. She was like, you understand what you're saying on television right now, right? Like, she was like, if the cops come to me and ask me if I know where you are, and she's like, yeah, that's a past address. I'm on the run currently.
Wow. Dude, talk shows back in the day were wild.
Yeah, and then the talk show lady, she wanted to help the April as much as she could, so she locked the audience in until April was able to leave, and then let them out to just like buy her a little bit more time.
Wow. That is so cool.
Yeah, they would never touch that now.
Right. Like,
Good Morning
that type of
America, like Montel was
No.
one of them. You remember Montel, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He had
Montel, Ricky Lake,
Yeah.
all that. Wow.
So April was eventually found by the FBI and arrested. At her trial, they had to prove that April's story of protecting her child was likened to a woman running into a burning house to save a small child, even though she was putting her own life at risk. That's what the lawyer said was kind of his goal, is to like, I have to make it seem like she tried every option and this was the last resort, and she's
Yeah.
even putting herself at risk to do it. April, luckily, unlike many other moms who were caught, was acquitted also in 1992 when Faye was. Obviously, the dads or the parents who were losing access to their children were pissed. There was actually a woman who went into the underground, but for slightly different reasons than the previous women that we've talked about. She wanted to go into the underground because of domestic abuse. Her husband had abused her physically, but the children were never involved in any kind of sexual or physical abuse. But she was worried to leave her children with the man who was violent and physically abused her, and she didn't want her kids around someone who could be violent, which I can totally understand.
Yep.
So she went into the underground with their two children. Her husband, unfortunately, was very wealthy. His name is Bipin Shah, and he was the father of the ATM. Daddy ATM himself.
Wow. Yikes.
Yeah. By this point, Faye was putting families into hiding internationally instead of nationally. I guess it was a little bit easier, probably, with the FBI. And Bipin Shah ended up on the cover of Time magazine after offering a $2 million reward to anyone who would return his children to him.
Oh my. What?
Yes. And that's kind of bold because you don't know who's going to pick up your kids when you offer a $2 million
Right.
reward. Like, you could have criminals getting involved, you know, like you don't, I mean, you'd
And
like
it's
to think
wild
they're gonna,
that it was on the cover Time magazine.
yes, that one. They did quite a few articles, like following up on this after too. Yeah. Very long articles.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Isn't it?
I don't know.
I'm just like, how have I not heard of this?
I thought, like, I know Time is always, I don't know, like, we've had people we love on the cover. We've had people we don't love on the cover.
We have.
So it's interesting, but yeah, that's just, why give someone that awful
They
that
seem
kind
to
of
paint him in
platform.
a pretty light too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is fine.
So Shaw ended up getting word. Cat hair.
It happens.
That's so
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
So Taylor Swift. I bet that happens to her all the time.
Shaw got word from some of his private eyes internationally that they knew where the girls were, his 2 children. They maneuvered to get the girls from their mother and bring them back to the States. The girls were, this article literally quoted, the girls were plucked like flowers from their mother's hands and taken away as the mother was left in the street screaming.
Oh my God. Stop.
Yeah. Horrible. For everyone involved. The children, the mom. Absolutely terrible. Their mother avoided arrest for some time, but was eventually arrested for child concealment charges and sentenced in 1999 to 2 years in Chester County Jail and 100 hours of community service for fleeing with her children. Shaw then turned to Faye Yager with a $100 million lawsuit against Faye. Shaw eventually dropped the lawsuit, but damage had already been done to Faye's reputation, and her family was receiving death threats. Faye ended up stepping back from the Children of the Underground, but stated that the network is in place and will carry on without her. And that is the end of the story of the Children of the Underground and Faye Yager.
Dang. So is she just like out and about now? Oh no, she passed away.
Well, last year. But yeah, she was just oot and a boot. Yeah.
Dang.
She stopped doing illegal stuff, so I think she was good to go.
Yeah, or maybe it's just what we know.
Maybe. I know, I do wonder.
Because if I know anything about Faye,
she's a spitfire.
yeah, she'll make it happen.
I do think it put
yeah.
a lot of stress on her marriage, too. She ended up marrying, I think his name was Howard Yager, after she had left Roger. And he, like, I think it almost drained his wealth, just, like, paying for their court fees and stuff. So
Wow. Yeah.
and they had a 19-bedroom home. Or, not bedroom, 19-room home.
I mean, yeah, that's wild.
It's a fair amount.
Yeah, it's a fair amount of rooms.
I'm like trying to count my rooms. It wouldn't take long.
Right. But it's like, it's hard because that's when it's overall like good what she's doing, but there's the gray area of, you know, some of the things. But at the end of the day, like, I cannot imagine being put in like a ward or something, someone telling me I'm crazy over trying to protect my children over something I know that's happening. Like, that would be enough to send me into orbit, dude. Like,
100%.
I get it.
And then they put the kid with him after you go through all that for 10 years. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. So I'm like, I get it. I don't know.
I do too. I get wanting to do something about it. And I think she was maybe a bit biased because of what she had gone through. But it's like, fuck, someone had to bring attention to it. Something had to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And imagine all the people that she helped that we don't hear about because it was successful and that kind of thing. So, dang, that's crazy. Yeah, I've never heard of this before. So that's very interesting. Inspirational?
I know, it felt good to do one that was like not, I mean, it's a heavy topic for sure, but it's not quite as maybe gruesome as some of our other stories, and kind of had an uplifting note kind of in between the horrors. Yep,
it's some vigilante shit for sure.
Yeah. Oh, definitely the episode title.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's some vigilante shit right there.
It really
for
is,
sure.
yeah.
Dang, that was a really good story though.
Oh, and if you want to see a photo of her,
Oh, I see her.
oh, it is.
Wow, she looks like such a lady.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
I love it.
Just like the dresses of the time are amazing too to see throughout the documentary.
Oh yeah, I feel like I'm gonna have to watch that.
Hulu.
Hulu. Okay.
Should we talk about actual happy stuff?
Okay. Okay. The pop-ups.
Yes.
It's like sponsored. So there's one in LA. Okay, so there was never a goodbye post for LA, and then what was the? Oh, Vancouver.
Vancouver, which both were filmed.
Right.
So I don't know what to do with that. This is just new information to me. I think I
Right.
need to stew on that for a little bit.
I need to
We'll
unpack
figure
it
it
a bit. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not even sure what the puzzle is, but
Right.
we'll get there. There is one.
Did we? Because I remember doing Mastermind for the last time, and we were like slowly realizing it's the same outfits every night. Was it also the same outfits for LA that were in Vancouver?
I don't remember it being, but I also wasn't doing Mastermind back then, and then I saw other people saying that it was.
I'm really excited for the documentary and these freaking pop-ups. What does it mean? They're bringing out stages and stuff. Like, what is that?
What is that? Yeah, who is doing it? Who's behind this?
What is the reason?
Is it Miss Swift herself, or is it Capital One? You know, or
I feel like it's, I mean, Disney Plus, the pictures that I've seen, Disney Plus is like on there. So it seems like it's official.
Okay.
So,
What do you think it's just gonna be like a DJ in LA that night, like doing
Right.
like a Swift party thing?
like a screening, which would be cool, but
Yeah.
to do it this far in advance, I don't know. Will she be there? Where is she going to be?
And then the 13th, I find it interesting that it comes out on the 12th. I feel like something is happening on the 13th because it's Swiftmas.
It's Swiftmas.
Yeah.
Surely.
I don't know what it is. I feel like it'll be like a little thing, like not a
Right.
huge thing.
Right, right. I mean, lots of fun things. I cannot wait to watch it. So,
I'm over the moon. Sleeper Cell Spy in 4K.
yeah. It'll be magical.
I cannot wait to have the tour with TTPD in it. Oh my God. I'm so excited.
Can't wait.
We're so close.
Yep, so close. We have a fun few weekends, and so next weekend is the docuseries, and then the weekend after that we have our little concert.
Yeah, so we got some very different music genres coming up. We got some jam band coming up, and then bluegrass. So we're all over the place.
Yeah.
We're women of...
Are we cultured?
culture. There it is.
We're just, a little bit of culture,
Not words, that's for sure.
Right. Not that, though.
No.
Good thing we have a podcast.
Right.
Oh, man.
On that note.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Crimelia Street. You can follow us on Instagram at Crimelia Street or on YouTube at Crimelia Street Podcast. Check us out on TikTok at Crimelia ST Podcast, and feel free to send us an email with any comments or suggestions for episodes at crimeliast@gmail.com. Bye, clowns.
Bye, clowns.